Hi there, I'm Katie Morton. I'm an energy healer and an intuitive.
And I'm Jennifer Palmer, and I'm an energy healer and an intuitive as well.
And today we're going to talk about the spiritual world. And the title of this podcast is Spirituality is Reality, in case you were wondering.
It's not fake. All right, so the first thing we want to talk about is
dead people. Not like dead bodies, but more like what happens after you die.
Yeah. Do you see dead people?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I have. So dead people could be past loved ones. It could also be unhealed or lost souls. And oftentimes people who connect with past loved ones or people who have not quite moved on are mediums. But you don't have to be a medium to experience past loved ones.
True, yeah. And I just want to say a little something about this. So, we have a body, but we also have a soul. The soul never dies. So essentially a loved one who has passed over isn't technically dead. Their body is dead, of course, the meat suit. The meat suit died, but the soul and the consciousness that was that human being is eternal and infinite. And so they don't really go away. It's not like...
Nah.
Yeah.
In fact, just before we started shooting this video, a cat of mine who passed away came and visited. Hello, Sammy.
Yeah, in case you missed that.
Yeah.
A cat.
A cat.
Her pet. Her long-lost dead pet.
Yeah. So I've had experiences where my loved ones have come back to visit, and I know when my grandmother comes because I will feel it in my left hip, and she actually had hip surgeries when she was alive, and that is her way of letting me know that it's her. I've had other people come in, like my grandfather, who was a lifelong smoker, and when he comes in, I taste cigarettes, and I feel like I'm going to cough up a lung.
And I've also brought through these two individuals and have had the same exact experience with them.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've also had experiences when I go to a store or something like that and I get a weird ache or pain or a weird symptom of some sort, and usually it belongs to a spirit that's just kind of hanging out. Probably with somebody else. It's probably somebody else's loved one that's wanting to give a message. I do some very mild mediumship work. I wouldn't call myself a medium per se, but they do come through sometimes, and I do connect with lost loved ones during healing sessions and things. And it's pretty profound the way that they can bring through messages.
True. Yeah, I've also done mediumship light. It's not my specialty as an intuitive, but I have brought them through before, and it's mixed reactions, right? Because sometimes when someone's alive, they're not the nicest. Humans are imperfect, and they often have interesting personality features. I'll just put it that way without being judgmental. And so sometimes a human of Earth will say, well, I don't want to hear from that, bleep. Sometimes when someone passes over and they die, they get to realize the error of their ways, and there can be somewhat of an immediate reformation. And then other times people pass over and there's still bleeps on the other side. So, got to be careful who you connect with.
Well, my experience of it is when you have an unhealed or a lost soul, that's typically when they might be a little bleepy. When they still have a lot of their personality and they haven't had the healing. But usually it seems that when they cross over and they go to the heavenly realm and they receive the healing, they come back, either by being called or they come back to visit. They're definitely coming from a wiser, more peaceful space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True.
Well,
and sometimes they're looking to right the karma that they caused when they were alive.
Very true. I have seen that as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, beyond the body. So, spirituality is the reality. When you leave the body through different means, different ways of accessing that connection, the collective and the connection, everything beyond this body, you start to realize that your consciousness is not really in the body. It's actually a part of your spirit. And so good examples of these would be near-death experiences where people basically die and then come back to life, and they come back with these amazing stories of talking with God or seeing what was happening in the room around them, but they weren't in their body. They could see their body lying there dying and people freaking out, and they're like, oh, this is what it's like. Oh, there's a light. And they go and they have this amazing experience, and they come back to life. And everyone is just in awe with what they know when they come back. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes they come back with healing abilities or intuitive abilities, or just amazing stories.
Yeah, and I've noticed there's, I don't know if it's still ongoing, but there was a trend where there was a bunch of books coming out by people who were doctors, scientists, people who had a real just logical mind, who then had these near-death experiences that were beyond logic and science and reason and explanation, and then they wrote these best-selling books about it. So one was Eben Alexander's experience. He was, I believe, a neuroscientist who had some sort of a meningitis type virus and wound up in a coma, and he was technically brain dead. And so they couldn't understand how he was having all of these consciousness-based experiences when his brain wasn't working, which makes you realize that the brain and the mind should not really be confused with consciousness. You don't need an organ of the brain to have consciousness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, there are people who have been in comas that come back and they talk about, oh no, I knew what was going on, and they had, really no brain activity, and they come back and they know things. But you can also have out-of-body experiences. So people who meditate often will talk about how they left their body and they can even see their body lying there, but they have all their faculties. They are thinking through what's going on and what they're experiencing. They're experiencing it outside of their body. You can do remote viewing, which we've played around with, where you, in some of our classes, you imagine all of you going to a certain place, like, a beach or a boardwalk or a mall, and all of you go and you often experience very similar things, different visions and smells even, like you'll experience it. And then another interesting conversation is parallel lives. And one thing that we forgot to put on here is that we seem to live more than one life. Not just past life versus this life, but also simultaneous lives. And time is not really what we think it is anyway, so maybe it's all simultaneous, who knows. But that just kind of warps my mind, I don't know.
Yeah, everything is happening at once.
I've had visions where literally it felt very real. I was minding my business, I was not even in meditation. I was doing something with my mind totally focused on that, and instantly I was in a different reality, experiencing that reality with all the emotions, all the visual effects, everything was as if I was in this different reality, and I was there for a few seconds, and then I would come back. And it would just blow me away. I had no idea. I wasn't even trying, and I ended up somewhere else. Jeez. It was a little weird, but it was awesome too at the same time.
Sounds weird and awesome. I have never had an experience of a parallel life, and I'm fine with that.
It was interesting. All right. So with that, we can say that, as you're awakening spiritually, you will find that there is something more to who you are than just this body.
Yeah. I have a really funny story about remote viewing, that I was having a distance healing session with a shaman, and I had never worked with a shaman before, and she was shaking rattles, and she was, intoning the spirits and like very loud yelling and all this happening, and so I was just very curious what was going on, and I wasn't consciously trying to do it, but she stopped the session and scolded me because apparently I had astrally projected into the room and was watching her, which I could see her in my mind's eye, but it wasn't a remote viewing experience. It was actually like my consciousness was in the room with her, which creeped her out and made her kind of mad. So she yelled at me to get back in my body. And I was like, oh, sorry, excuse me. I was invading her privacy. But and she also couldn't conduct the healing while my consciousness was in the room with her, and she was trying to heal me on the other side of the country, but yeah. Real confusing. Anyway.
Yeah, it's real, guys.
Yeah.
All right, and then of course you can connect with your spirit team. So we have guides and angels. You can connect with the collective.
Well, galactic beings are often a collective
Yes.
consciousness.
And you can work with them through channeling in your intuition. On all levels, you can work with any of them.
Yeah, so what is a spirit team? We all have a large team of helpers with us at all times, guiding us through 3D life. And it's nice because they often have a higher perspective, they can see beyond the veil, and so they can help you to make wise decisions during your ascension process here on Earth in trying to become a better human. Yeah, so guides, spirit guides, that can be ascended masters, angels, anyone who is lending you a helping hand. Galactic beings often have karma tied to humans. They have a vested interest in us as a collective ascending and becoming better humans.
Yeah.
And so they're always willing to lend a hand.
And they're very helpful.
Yes.
Yeah. They all are.
They are. Well, if you connect safely,
Mm-hmm.
which, we can talk about with channeling and intuition. So if you're
Well,
trying...
that's our next slide.
Okay, well, channeling intuition, I don't want to jump the gun. Yeah, via channeling and intuition, you can communicate with your spirit guides.
Yeah. And it's a wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do, you feel so much love and appreciation and wisdom. The wisdom that courses through you is just, it's outstanding.
Mind-blowing, and it can help raise your vibration, make you feel just happier and like you actually have a clue and have your have your bleep together.
Okay, so contact. How do you actually contact your guides or loved ones? First thing to understand is that, and you probably know this, but everything is energy. It's really important to think of yourself as energy, all your moods, your beliefs, your experiences and traumas, everything is creating your energetic output. And all of the guides and spirits and past loved ones, they are energy. And they connect and talk with you through this atmosphere of energy, of all the things. And so to keep that in mind, it actually helps you to connect because everything is energy and it just makes it seem like it's less dense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to connect through this thick head of mine and through no space, through some place, and then there's this being.
That sounds hard, but
Yes.
when you remember that it's all about your vibration and that what you want to connect with is high vibration beings who are on the positive path. And so if your vibration is high, then it's going to be easier for you to link in with their communications.
Yeah. So, but that said, let's jump down to safe contact for a minute since you just discussed that and we talked about it in the previous slide.
Sorry, jumping all the hurdles and fences.
Jeez.
Like a maniac.
I love you. But safe contact,
I love you
seriously.
too. I can't hear it and not repeat it back.
Oh,
I love you.
yay.
Okay, move on. Safe contact.
So it is important because even if your vibration is high, you might still attract beings who are not necessarily going to be benevolent. They might be trying to mess with you. So, and a lot of people confuse high vibration with only beings of positivity, and that's not true. So the vibration is important, but also your intention in stating who you want to work with and what you want your outcome to be is extremely important when you're contacting.
So it's important to be specific about the positive path of ascension because there's two paths of ascension. There's a negative path where you can be high vibe and negative. You can be high vibe and positive. You just want to pick the positive path. That's all.
Yes. So let's back up to types of intuition. So there are really 4 main types of intuition. So there's clairvoyance, which most people have learned about before, or at least heard about.
You
but
can
it's
see visions.
Visions, clear
Seeing.
vision.
Yeah.
I can see dead people.
I see dead people. Anyway.
Then there's clairaudience. I hear dead people.
But they're not all dead.
No, they're not.
Yeah. Just, Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. All right. So clairaudience is clear hearing. Then you have clairsentience, which is clear feeling, where you're really feeling emotions, or you can even feel thoughts and situations. It's like a feel more than a seeing or hearing. And then you can have claircognizance, which is like, I don't know how I know, but I know. It's a very clear knowing of something, and you've never been told it before. Yeah. So, yeah, those are the four main ones. Sometimes you might smell things or taste things as well, but
those are more peripheral, and
yeah.
there's not usually as much information contained in those senses, but they're really good, I've found, for identifying past loved ones. And there's been some really great spirits, like high vibe spirits, and it's not a past loved one, it's a different type of like a spirit guide that smells really nice. I have had that experience. Yeah.
Awesome.
Where it was like, this lady with an English accent who definitely had been dead for a really long time. Anyway.
Nice.
She smelled great. Who knew?
Nice. I hope I smell good when I come back and bother people.
They'd be like, oh, Jen. Just kidding. They won't.
I know, right?
They'd be like, luscious Jen. Come back.
My kids are going to love me. All right, and then also, if you really want to try to contact, practice often, get into that safe space, create a sacred space, and just practice a lot.
Yeah. Willingness is helpful.
Yeah, and connect with community. Community is important.
Yeah, so we teach a spiritual and intuitive development group here at Nourishing Journey in Columbia, Maryland, twice a month.
Nice
so
plug.
Come on down. But community is helpful because you can get lots of tips, and a lot of people, maybe they don't even think to ask a question. Somebody asks that question, and then you get it answered for yourself. But anyway, yeah, practice often, but I also find having your intentions clear for why you want to connect is also very crucial. If you just want to connect because you want to make more money and you want to get good parking spaces, it's probably not going to work for you. But if you intend to connect because you want to help other people and you want to receive and share wisdom with other people, those are good intentions as to behind why you're seeking a spiritual contact or connection. So just get clear on that for yourself. Why are you? Is it for selfish reasons, or is it to help other people? Because you're probably going to have more success with it if you're trying to serve others.
Yeah, that's what just came to me too, is if you do want to connect with past loved ones, a lot of people get really excited when they start experiencing, the ghostly presence in the house. And that's how it all started for me, honestly, is, toys going off and crazy things happening, orbs flying around, and just a lot of interesting things happened. And it's kind of what made me realize, and I think I knew it even as a kid, but fell asleep for a little bit and then woke up to, oh, spirits are real. But a lot of people get really excited about that and then get stuck in, connecting with lost souls. And that's not exactly high vibration. It's neat, it's interesting, it proves to you that this is real. Spirituality is truly the reality of our existence. But it's not necessarily a place I would recommend staying. Try to work with higher vibe beings, because that's really more worth your time. And maybe try to help the beings who are lost and not necessarily here, which is something I've been asked to do spiritually, is to help them cross over. It's part of what I do. But yeah, I don't think I would stay there.
Yeah, that shouldn't be your only.
Yeah, it's pretty low vibe. Yeah. All right. And then if you want to contact us,
there's where to go. Nourishing-journey.com or KittyMorton.com.
Yeah, and we have links below as well. And we'd love for you to like, share, forward, everything.
Subscribe, all the things. Hit all the bells, the whistles, and the buttons. Smash them.
Yeah, and if you can, tell us about some of your experiences.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Love to hear them.
Thanks.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.